Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today is Sunday, November 28th, so it is time to do my November wrap-up. So this month I did read 3 books, and I picked the right ones for the occasion. It's going to be these 3 here. Each one involved eating the flesh of humans at some point. So let's get right into it. First of all, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I spent the day with my family and I ate way too much. On days like that, it's usually a lunch, and so that's like the one and only meal of the day. And I definitely had my fill, and I hope you did too. So like I said, all 3 of these books had a little bit of cannibalism in them, and I think I am good for a while. Now, none of these books were awful. I did enjoy some more than others, so let's see what order they appear in. So none of these were bad. I really did enjoy all 3, but coming in last place is going to be Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Bastarrica. This was an interesting story, to say the least. As it turns out, I'm probably not a big fan of extreme horror, and this is what this is. So basically, this book takes place in a world where animal flesh is toxic to human consumption. Not only that, it seems as though any interaction with animals, such as a scratch or a bite, can lead to disease and death for humans, so they have gotten rid of all their pets, all the animals in the zoos, everything. And this book follows a guy who works at a factory where humans are grown for consumption. They are treated like animals. Their tongues have been cut out so they can't speak. They are raised in captivity, most of them. This was a lot to take in. So our main character in this book has gone through a separation. They have lost their child under his watch. Can't remember exactly what happened to him, but he's living on his own, and he works at the factory. It goes through an interview process where the dude is taking 2 potential candidates through the whole process of how they bring the head in, and it shows them like hitting their forehead to kind of knock them unconscious. They hang them upside down. It goes through the whole process of killing them, draining them, butchering them, gutting them. I mean, it was a little much for me, for my taste. At one point, one of his associates that he does business with gives him a gift of a head, and it's a female, and he doesn't know exactly what to do with it. They don't call him he or she, but eventually he brings her out of the barn to wash her in the rain, and he gets a little frisky with her. So from here on out, I'm going to talk some spoilers, so if you've not read this and you want to, you might want to go ahead and skip to the next selection. Okay, 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So the second part of this book takes place like 7 or 8 months later. I think it's 8 months later. And his head is now pregnant with his child. And he has spent the last 8 months kind of training her to dress herself, to eat with utensils, trying to humanize her in a way. And he has to keep it a secret because, you know, if the bigwigs were to find out about this, he would be sent to the slaughterhouse himself. So it's got to be super duper top secret. So by the end of the book, when she goes into labor, he calls his wife and he has her to come over to help deliver the baby. So they deliver the baby, and then dude turns on his head and knocks her out and takes her to the barn to slaughter her. This was a crazy, crazy, crazy story. One, it's really hard to recommend unless you are into extreme horror, because like I said, during the interview process where he takes them through the whole process of killing people for consumption, it is gruesome. So, Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Bastarrica. It was scarring. I will never look at meat the same way again. So, right above that one is going to be Bone Harvest by James Brogdon. So the summary of this story is a tad bit misleading. We think the whole story is going to be about a 65-year-old woman with dementia named Denny, who lives on her own and discovers 3 strangers moved in next door and they're doing weird shit. While that's pretty much kind of true, there's way more involved with this book than just that. The first part of this story takes place in like 1915 or something like that. And it's about a man who has deserted his army and is hiding out in no man's land. And he is found by these no man landers or whatever they're called. These guys that have abandoned their duties and are hiding out in this barn. Well, our deserter meets a man and he tells him about this god that he worships called Machus. And if you eat Machus's flesh, then you are cured of your own ailments and you will not age. Now, this is not a live forever type of thing. No. All of part 1 is about the deserter learning about the rituals in this village. Then in part 2, we finally meet Denny, and she is suffering from dementia, but it doesn't focus solely on Denny. It also goes back and forth between other residents of this town in England somewhere, as well as going back to Ardwin and Everett and their quest to start a new church in this new city. It was a good story. I thought it was a little bit long, but I kept turning the pages and I was really invested in it. There is an epilogue at the end. I thought that could have been cut out and it would have had a better ending, but that's very minute. If you are into like cults and fertility gods and, stuff like that, then I would highly recommend it. Bone Harvest. So my absolute favorite for this month is going to be Curse of the Pigman by Asher Ellis. So basically what happens in this is there's a god of gluttony and he takes the form of a pigman, and every so often they have, I think it's like every 10 years or something, they have to make a sacrifice to this god and everything is a-okay. Since the ritual was interrupted and it did not happen, most of the town is consumed by hunger. They turn on each other very quickly, eating up all the food in all the restaurants and all the cafes. And once they run out of food, they start turning on each other and start eating each other. It is a crazy story, but I super enjoyed it. The only real negative with this I had was it could have been edited a little better. There were several missing words, but they were all small words like the or a or but or be, One sentence even ended without any punctuation mark or quotation mark, and that irritates me, but I was able to overlook it and really, really enjoyed this one. So if you've not read it, it's very high on my list, so I would recommend it. So that's it. Those are the 3 books I read for November. So if you have made it this far, leave me a pig emoji in the comments if you're able to, or any kind of emoji if you want to. I only have 6 2020 books left, so I plan on reading 3 in December, 3 in January, and then we're going to have a special video in February to kind of tie everything together, and I'm really looking forward to what's coming next. So what are your thoughts on cannibalism? I mean, all 3 of these books had people eating flesh for different reasons, and I am definitely kind of over that. So I'm looking forward to the last 6. I don't think there's any cannibalism in any of these. Fingers crossed. So I really appreciate you more than you could ever know. I'm very thankful that I have any followers on this channel. I know I'm not very good at this, but I appreciate you hanging around and keeping me company. It's still very strange to me, 6 months into this, talking to a phone, and you get some comments here and there. So I would really appreciate it if you were to comment below. Like the video. Hit subscribe if you haven't. Turn on those notification bells. All the YouTube stuff. Alright, so that's it. You are free to go. Come back and see me next time. And until then, keep turning those pages. Bye.